Well, several sources told me about this admission that the Prime Minister made, and they were absolutely stunned that the Prime Minister would say this in front of them, in front of more than 100 of his colleagues who could easily leak it to a journalist like me or any of my colleagues here in the press gallery.
It's an incredibly careless admission, isn't it?
It is what some people might suggest is a sign of hubris, that you would be that careless in saying something like this. It's not necessarily that he combined visits with a private Liberal Party fundraiser overnight in Melbourne. Let's face it, if you were going to hang people for that crime, probably every Prime Minister previous would be, because this is part and parcel of their work. They do hold a lot of fundraisers, and usually they do book some legitimate work in the city as well, so that they can say, well, it was okay to be in that city and take the VIP down, etc., etc. Now, keep in mind, the Prime Minister's always got to travel with their security, so anywhere the Prime Minister goes, for whatever reason, is always going to cost the taxpayer something. But what MPs couldn't believe were two things. One, that Ian McDonald, who's, let's say, a little disgruntled since he's been demoted from the front bench and takes the government to task on just about every single thing it tries to do, got up in the party room yesterday and had a go at the Prime Minister, because the Prime Minister turned up late. Now, the Prime Minister was in Melbourne early yesterday morning at 7 a.m, and he held a press conference at the Peter Mac Cancer Research Centre, not to announce any new funding, not to talk about any specific thing, but to basically say, I'm here to talk about our planned medical research fund. So there was nothing pertinent about why he had to be there at that time on that day.
Latika, how many people travelled with the Prime Minister?
Well, it's a bit hard to tell. I don't have the facts for this exact trip, but you would expect, I mean, he's got his security guys. He would usually travel with a staffer or two. So it really depends. I mean, sometimes chief staff might go, sometimes policy advisor might go if he's meeting on something else. It's difficult to judge exactly for every trip unless we actually get those statistics. But it was the Prime Minister saying back to Ian McDonald, well, I had to be in Melbourne this morning because I was there for a fundraiser the night before and had to justify it.
Do you expect lots of outrage in Parliament today, or because everyone does this and it's quite legal to do so, it'll just pass without complaint?
Well, not everybody admits to it so openly.
That's the whole point, isn't it?